Now we're going to roll right into news of the week. We've got some breaking stories. This one in the broken clock category. Nate Orshan has for us.
Thanks, Aaron. Oh, Senator Paul, smug, smarmy, sweaty Senator Paul. Okay, I made up the sweaty part. Here's the deal. A week ago, on Tuesday, June 1st, the Washington Post and BuzzFeed Feed News published a bunch of previously unreleased emails from Dr. Anthony Fauci, our top infectious disease expert. And the right-wing media sphere has been going slightly berserk, claiming that all of these either prove that Fauci was lying about the possibility that the virus might have originated in a lab in Wuhan, China, where they apparently do study similar stuff, or maybe he's just, irresponsible and or incompetent. This, of course, is a subject near and dear to Kentucky's junior senator, as Senator Paul has publicly taken Dr. Fauci to task for stuff he said about herd immunity, about the benefit of wearing a mask even after you've gotten your COVID vaccine, and, of course, about not supporting the theory that the Wuhan Institute of Virology might have been the real source of severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, aka SARS-CoV-2. Hashtag Fire Fauci is what Paul tweeted, along with a wonderfully brief and self-aggrandizing message. Told you. All that was missing from that was a video of Nelson, the famous bully from The Simpsons, going, so what was really going on? Yes, on February 1st, 2020, an immunologist wrote to Fauci via email. That's how they got it. And he wrote that the genetic code of SARS-CoV-2 had small bits of DNA that looked like, quote, some of the features potentially look engineered, unquote. So smoking gun? Nah. When that immunologist team went over the genome with a fine tooth comb, I can do this. And note, a fine tooth comb is a metaphor. It's not a real lab instrument. Their formal study stated, quote, our analyses clearly show that SARS-CoV-2 is not a laboratory construct or a purposefully manipulated virus, but it is currently impossible to prove or disprove the other theories of its origin described here. You got that? There wasn't evidence that the virus had been tampered by people. So Fauci did the conservative thing, and that's conservative in the traditional sense of being cautious, not the current sense of just believing whatever Fox News tells you as the undisputable truth. He did the conservative thing, and he said that there wasn't any evidence that the virus was engineered as opposed to evolved, because there wasn't. And now that experts are going back and forth and revisited the engineered in Wuhan theory, it's gaining some legitimate traction. But does that mean that how Fauci responded was, not the right thing, or that he was wrong? No way. No way. He's a freaking scientist, people. If you give him new, empirically generated, peer-reviewed and approved data, he'll up and change his message because, wait for it, that's exactly the way science is supposed to work. So, good for Rand Paul and his lame little gotcha moment, but even he should know that a broken analog clock is right twice a day. So, in honor of smug, smarmy Senator Paul, may I just say, tick, 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 time's up.
That's awesome. Thanks, Nate. So, yeah, one of our liber twins, Rand Paul. Man, yeah, it's so funny reading the stories, right? So looking at the story from like an unbiased news source, which I would call the AP or the Washington Post largely unbiased, kind of the facts, versus Fox News, they actually saw a lot of similarities, right? Like the actual, because it was Fauci's email, like actually showing what the email said, but the kind of the perception of what Fauci said and how they were interpreting it was so different. Right. So again, we've gotten to this point where partisanship has divorced us from a just ability to have an unbiased viewing of facts. Right. We just look at the world in completely different ways. I saw what Fauci said and said, yep, this makes sense. This looks like a scientist, saying the cautious thing. And then as more information is being, coming to light, being researched, he said, look, the data shows this, right? So from masks, I think there's a very significant shift as well. going from like, well, not really sure. Also, I know that if we tell everyone they need masks, then there aren't going to be masks available for the healthcare workers. So like, let's go slow on masks. And then as the data made it more clear that the way this virus was transmitting from infected people to uninfected people meant if you were infected and you wore a mask, you were going to definitely cut down on the spread of the virus. Science showed that, he shared that. And then all of a sudden masks are politicized, right? It's scary to me that like data is taking a back seat to, your tribe. And that's just very disappointing to see, because I don't think Fauci, say what you will about him, like he never trashed Trump. He never, even when Trump was saying he should inject some bleach, Fauci never trashed him. He just, made sure that he was putting out the facts as the data, what the data reflected. So I don't think Fauci is partisan. I think he's appreciative now of working for an administration that appreciates science and isn't going to get out there touting hydroxychloroquine or bleach as solutions. Ken, I know you have a few thoughts.
Just a few. Like I watched the video. I unfortunately watched the Fox News video from pointing the wrong direction. This article that Nate talked about. My comments after Paul described the plot of the movie 28 Days Later. I don't know if you've seen that movie. He made some giant leaps in hypothesis about the COVID pathology. Rand may know pathology from science classes he took to become an eye doctor or whatever, but only just because and pathology is the science that causes that studies the cause and effects of disease, especially in the laboratory. Examinations of sample, body tissue, diagnostic or forensic for those purposes. Research, which is we know Paul is an unlicensed eye doctor, so I'm not entirely sure if he knows research. He is a doctor, so I mean, I don't know. Licensed or not, that's not the point. I'm no expert, but I have worked closely with doctors to create articles for journals and chapters for books. Yes, I am published in medical journals, which is crazy, my work. But I wasn't the doctor. I just took a picture. That's beyond the point. In these journals, there are results. There is evidence. They do study after study with thousands of people. It's not speculation. It's a reality. And Paul, he comes back with this 2-word tweet. Told you, like seriously, what does that even mean? Like it's a bunch of random crap. Much like if you give an infinite amount of monkeys, an infinite amount of time, and a typewriter, they will eventually write Shakespeare, hypothetically. And the reporter on the Fox News story asked Paul this very loaded question, quote, why can't the White House commit to this real investigation? Or now Biden's done an about face and he's saying we're going to investigate this at the end of 90 days. We'll figure it out. What makes him think he can I can't even do the voice the way she does. And then she goes on to say China's not letting anyone in there. Well, I mean, the WHO was there and, whatever. But it's what kind of question is this? I did very little research, very tiny amounts of research. I went to the White House website, whitehouse.gov, where Biden wrote what he is doing to find the origins of the virus, which apparently she answers her own questions with clear punditry dripping with anxiety-wrenching fear-mongering as she throws the American intelligence agents community under the bus and adds contextless racism sprinkles to enrage her base viewers with more information, which is just another play in the fascist cookbook of how to make America a banana republic again. Aaron?
Are you sure there's not more to add, Ken? That was Ken got fired up. This is what happens when you watch Fox News and follow it up with a Pod Save America chaser. It is hard to contain yourself. No, absolutely, Fox News is doing a horrible job here and is not doing a service to any of its viewers. But of course, the viewers are nice and scared, and they're like, buying gold or whatever the hell Fox is selling these days. All right, Kimberly, anything you want to say about Rand and whether he was right or not?
I mean, Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell must be the best subjects that I have to just bash someone because they give me a lot to talk about. Rand Paul is, I've said it before, I'll say it again, he's about as dumb as a bag of rocks. Actually, who knew how to deal with this pandemic? We had not had a pandemic of this magnitude since 1918. And I mean, information is going to come out. And I personally have always believed that somebody could have made a mistake and it just spread all over the place. I mean, the bat theory, I wasn't going for that too much, but Rand Paul, once again, he is an idiot personified, and he shows it each and every time he opens his mouth.
If only there was some election coming up by which we could get rid of him.